we have indeed been hooked up. So, sitting next to me are my new best buddies.
And oh my god, we were just pumping in the power. It just sucks up everything you give it. It's exactly what people have said. And we're off!
Guys, maybe worse than I thought.
It's done! We're free!
Yes!
Really?
Yes! What are we doing?
Our plans.
Our plans. Right, I digress.
Welcome to our self-inflicted adventure. I'm Kiara and this is Adam. A few years ago, we walked away from our life on land to pursue travel and adventure aboard our floating home, the Millennial Falcon.
Last year saw us improving ourselves and the boat whilst we tackled our first Atlantic circuit. Join us as we come full circle back to the Caribbean, where we'll commence preparations for our next big challenge.
Previously on Sailing Millennial Falcon.
Alright, it's splashing day. And we're off! We are off the hard and back in the water. We need to put all of our deck hardware back on, we need to put the boom back on, we need to put sails on, rigging, so much stuff to do. That's right, you don't hear anything. The mast now does not have a clash and the clang of a radar wire in there. And we now have some new to us instruments as well. It's wind and depth gauges. So we still do have quite a few things that we're waiting on and quite a few things that mean that we can't just leave yet, but we are getting there. We are definitely getting there.
We're finally back in the water. We've got heaps of loose ends to tie up. It is coming together slowly, but you know, just takes time. I won't go into that because that's a whole nother conversation and I have more exciting things to talk about. We've just finished an Atlantic circuit and we have been plagued is probably too strong of a word, but suffice it to say that power consumption and power regeneration was a big issue, a big challenge for both of those journeys, going both ways. Not because we're deficient in renewables in any way. We have 800 watts of solar and 400 watt wind generator. We have ample solar. It's just that the sails shade the panels, and sometimes when you're running downwind, the wind generator doesn't spin. It just no additional volume will solve that problem. We have got a 100 amp Balmar alternator, but the AGM batteries we have, the charge acceptance rate means that you end up running the motor for hours and hours and hours. So my theory when it comes to power is that find ways to not need it, have the capacity to store lots of it, and have as many ways as possible to get it back. So that's kind of what we're in pursuit of. If you've been with us for a while, you might remember that we had the good fortune of crossing paths with Ryan and Sophie back in Ponta Delgada. Ryan is one of the founding partners of Dakota Lithium, and he very generously offered to hook us up and help us design a lithium system for the Falcon. So fast forward to now, many moons later, we have indeed been hooked up. So sitting next to me are my new best buddies, 3 200 amp hour lithium Dakota lithium batteries, a 3000 watt Victron inverter, a DC to DC charger, and a battery monitor system. The loose concept of the system is that we're going to have the battery bank hooked up to the solar and all the renewables. The alternator is also going to be hooked up to the house bank, and then we're going to have a DC to DC trickle charge for the starter cranking battery, which will start the motor. I've got a mate coming over to help me do this because he's got most of this kit, not so much the batteries, but he's got all the Victron kit, and that should shorten the curve a little for the installation. But that's today's job. We're just going to tear it all apart, put it all in, see if we can get it talking to each other, and everybody keeps telling me this is going to change my life, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing the effects.
It took just over a day to install our new lithium batteries and was a fairly easy install process.
But hey, the batteries are actually in. Apparently they are significantly lighter than our AGMs, which are currently lying on the floor.
Tip for new players, don't start mid-afternoon as you'll be working in the dark.
As you can see, it's well past dark, so this might have to be a job for tomorrow. But we did kind of want the win by the end of the day, so.
We do have a full install video coming soon, which we will link above.
Okay, so in new news, we are getting closer to our finally finishing everything up, although it may not seem like it if you take a big pan of the mess in this room. But our new news is that we now have COVID. So this has put a slight dampener on our plans. We can't really leave the boat. We're going to quarantine for about a week or so, or until we get a negative test result. we can't really go out and buy parts, etc. But it does mean that we can really bunker down and work on the things on the boat that we do have parts for. We plugged in shore power this morning, and oh my god, we were just pumping in the power into our lithiums. It's ridiculous. We were bringing in 86 amps, and it's just been at like 86 amps for like an hour now, just bringing it in. It hasn't gone down, it hasn't plateaued. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, I'll accept whatever you give me. It's insane. I'm waiting for it to get lower and lower like our AGMs used to, the amount of power coming in, but it's just not. It's insane. It just sucks up everything you give it. It's exactly what people have said, and I'm astounded. Anyway, that's really, really, really cool. We still haven't really had the chance to use all of the electrics, all of the electronics on the boat. Like, I've plugged in a kettle, we now have an electric kettle. But that's pretty much my only upgrade to more electricity usage. In the next few days, we'll just be trying to wrap up some loose ends so that we can get off the dock and go for a sail. We're getting closer and closer, and until now, quarantine.
It took us a full 2 weeks, but finally, the day came when both of us tested negative.
Alright, we're getting off the wall today. We've pretty much done everything that we have to here, and no more reasons for us to stay here. You might remember that when we came into the yard we had to go through a bridge, and the bridge is open but on more limited days than when we first entered here. So we're going to have to hang out in the lagoon here for a few days until the French side bridge opens, and then we will finally be able to go back out into the big wide world again. So we've just been kind of like messing around with lines this morning, just making sure that it's an easy exit for us, and Adam is currently sawing off a really not a good knot from the end of one of the lines so that we can slip it nice and easily. So that's what we're doing now.
Just lengthen that one a little bit. Alright, line's clear. We are in the channel. Boat again.
Now what we did before we came in was we kind of depth sounded this channel up to an anchorage in the lagoon. We didn't scrape the bottom at any stage, but it was very, very close. Since then, we've changed out our instruments, which means that where the old instrument is...
The head unit came out of a different boat and thus was set for that boat. And we whacked it in there thinking, yep, sweet, depth is depth, wonderful. And then it's only as we were leaving that I was worried about coming in this channel. I was like, hang on a minute. Oh no!
Hold on a tick. So we've kind of estimated what the depth that's underneath our transducer and the depth that's above our transducer up to the waterline. And we haven't run aground yet. We should, when we get into some nicer water, we'll actually measure that out, I think. Look, when I film things now, you can actually see a number. Oh, it's getting less.
Whoa, 8 feet, no.
7.9.
Oh wow, see that little arrow? It's like...
Oh, it means it's going up? No,
yes,
it's going down.
Oh no.
And it's stationary. All this new technology, it's just crazy.
That's what the plus is for.
Yeah.
Plus arrows. ST60 plus arrow.
Wow. We're in a whole new world here.
I really want to, I'm really resisting the urge to give her some squirt and send her off because I want to know how she runs at cruising RPM, but it's, it's such a dicey channel that I'm like, no. Take it easy there, Tiger. I trust nothing around here.
Alright, next stage of the journey, going back through the bridge and out into the big wide world, out into the glorious bay. So, this is it. We're finally going back out again. Our yard time is over after this. Yes, Adam's just hauling the anchor now.
You got time. Yeah, it's a fair bit worse than I thought. So much fun. We're up. Yeah, we are. It's hard to start.
With a bit of gentle persuasion, going flat out in forward gear, we managed to work our way off of the mound of sand.
You're off. Hey, here
Adam
he is.
even having enough time for a quick natter before the bridge opened.
Beautiful. Well, we just touched the bottom, so yeah, only just there, back there. Our depth, we got a new depth gauge, so the offset isn't right. So we're like 0.3 out, I think, maybe 0.4.
We did it! It's done! We're free! There was that moment of panic when you suddenly start to realise, oh, I actually have to go underneath a bridge. Oh, let's focus. But all good, we're free.
So good to be out.
So good!
How's the boat? How's she running? Smooth
She's
as.
really seriously smooth. She feels awesome. Even in neutral idle, it's great. There's hardly any vibration.
I'm gonna do
I'm
the
so
ultimate
impressed.
test. I'm gonna go down to the bedroom where that Jumanji
Okay.
drums used to be.
Alright.
Yes!
Really?
Yes!
What, we're free or no Jumanji jumps?
You could sleep down there.
Really?
Go down. You will hear it. There's no
Okay,
Jumanji
take
drums.
over.
Like, it's noisy, but it's engine noise. It's not like dugga 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 dugga.
Okay.
Oh! I hope it lasts.
I feel like I should have been filming his reaction sooner. He was like jumping up and down. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. That is fine. I mean, it's loud, don't get me wrong, but there is like a tractor engine in our boat, so no surprise. Wow. Alright. And no Jumanji drums. I think it's okay.
Right,
I think it's
so
good.
Much better. I'd sleep in there. I would sleep down there.
Really?
I mean, it would be noisy, but I would. I definitely would. Like before, it was like horrible. But now it's just engine noise, which I can live with engine noise.
Exactly. It's just engine noise because, okay, that's fine. That's meant to be engine noise, but not like Jumanji jumps. That was a bit nerve-wracking.
Our buddies on Sailing Sunday.
Oh yeah, fellow Aussies.
Fellow Aussies. All the cool kids are in St Martin well after they're supposed to be.
All the cool kids leave it too late. Look at that water. Look at the colour.
Go.
We're out. We're out of the lagoon and we are back into Marigot. It's a bit of a change for us. All of a sudden feeling what being on anchor is like again. So one thing that I didn't do when we were at anchor when we first got here was go in for a swim. So finally, now that we're back into like beautiful clear water, I need to go in for a swim. I haven't been in the water for like too long. Too long. So number one thing on the agenda today, number 2 thing, now that we've just gone through the bridge, number 2 thing on the agenda is going in for a swim. Off you go. Off you go. Okay, we are very refreshed. That was so nice. That was really, really nice to actually have a swim after so long, after so many months.
Every day now.
I really am. I seriously
I
am.
feel silly for not going swimming when I went swimming the first time.
But my hair was clean then. Now that we are back out into the big wide world, we've got to tell you what our plans are, because we went into the yard.
We're behind. We're a long way behind.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. If
Okay.
you've been following us for a while and you sort of have some awareness around like the seasons and where you should be going and when you should have left by, you're probably wondering, where are they, what are they doing, and why haven't they left yet?
When we were crossing, we obviously didn't release many episodes. Our footage was about 3 months behind. Now we're pretty much, once again, week to week. So we'll be filming this one mid-June and it'll be released mid-June. So it's not very practical for us, but it also does give you an indication of where we're at with our
Real-time
timing.
updates.
Yes, exactly.
What are we
Our
doing?
plans.
Our plans. Right, I digress.
So when we went to the yard, we had a plan to be there for about 6 weeks, pretty much get us set for, we had our compression post that we needed to fix, we had our propeller shaft that we had to replace, and then we're going to go off and go across an ocean and go up to Norway. Look, it wasn't 6 weeks, it was about 3 months. Yeah. So we definitely had big time mission creep there. While we were waiting for our compression post, like the base of our compression post to come in, the G10.
And the shaft.
And the shaft also got delayed. We started to add more jobs to the list because we were like, oh, we have the time, we may as
paying
well.
to be in the yard, so you don't want to just sit on your hands and like hemorrhage money for no reason. You're like, well,
Yeah.
we're out here, we're on the tools,
Yep.
we're already miserable, we're already hot and sweaty and filthy, let's just keep working. And thus we took on more jobs. What we failed to recognise was that those jobs are also susceptible to delays. And then there's another delay, and then you look for another thing to do with your time while you're waiting for the first mission creep job.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you've rebuilt your boat from the ground up. And not to mention, and this is the part nobody sees coming, and we didn't see coming. You start a job, you come out the yard, you got 2 things on your list. They get delayed. Then you start another job. During that job, you might find something, like
which
a
we did
shower,
twice.
bathroom floor, or a gas locker floor, like these big things, and you're like, I have to fix that. I can't just ignore that. Like, there's like assume at all times that at any moment you can find something on your boat that will be a major job, especially with a boat of this vintage.
I was just about to interject and say old or new.
Or new.
Less when new.
Well, yeah,
but...
less chance when new. I should hope so. Far out. The plan now is to we've sort of missed. We haven't missed our window. It's certainly fair game to cross the Atlantic in July.
we're in June.
We're in June. Well, we're in the end of June. But where we're headed on that side of the pond, it isn't sensible to start heading up there. And so if we did want to cross now, we'd be sort of biding our time. We'd be wintering over in the Med before we were to go up, in which case we'd be chewing our Schengen days, or we'd head to the UK and winter over there.
Pretty much the reason why we came back to the Caribbean in the first place is going to be the reason.
Right back where we started.
Yeah,
actually, literally right back where we started.
Exactly, yeah.
So the whole plan to go round was to like get an earlier start on going north and get in there for the very, very beginning. Anyway, we've missed that window. Such is life. Such is sailing. That's how it goes.
Yep. So that then leads us to, if we want to continue on the same plan, we're going to need to wait until next year. And for us, we have an amazing boat now that's like, we've just finished doing up to the best of its ability, and it's such a shame to then need to just kind of sit and twiddle our thumbs for another year.
So what are we doing?
We're expanding our plan a little.
Changing the plan completely.
Changing our plan
It's
completely.
not expanding, it's just like turn the page.
Yeah.
We've turned the page, we're starting a new chapter.
Yeah.
We are buying a pineapple farm. We're going to become...
We're going to be farmers!
We're going to be... No. The boat's going on the market. We've
No! Not little Millie!
No. That's not true. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Although if anyone's got a pineapple farm going cheap, it would be make for fun jokes. Anyway.
Okay, we're going to go through the Panama Canal and we're going to go through to the Pacific side. We haven't really explored too much of the Caribbean other than the Leeward Islands, so we will spend a little bit of time kind of moseying our way along, like during the hurricane season, being in the safe areas, which includes, you know, the ABCs, Colombia, Panama. They're kind of like out of the hurricane zone. So we'll spend some time, you know, dotting our way along those islands, exploring them, which should be really cool, new territory. And then we will actually head back home for Christmas, which will be the first time that we both would have seen our families in 3 years. We are incredibly overdue for that, and we really do want to spend some weeks over Christmas just spending some time with family. When we come back, that's when we're going to turn the page, and that's when we're going to start our Pacific adventure.
We're going to start heading west, pretty much. We spent the first 3 years of our cruising adventure in the Lesser Antilles, which is one stretch of islands on the eastern side of the Caribbean Sea. And it's like, we've not even scratched the surface. If we wanted to be like a completionist, we could go and see every bay. Like, you could spend a lifetime here and not see it all. So there is a lot of real estate between the Lesser Antilles and Panama, and then the Pacific itself. There's such a huge wide world out there that we're looking to it's time to turn the page. Like, we're not exactly sure what it looks like or how it's going to look or where we're going to go. The big lesson here was never get married to a plan. So if you hear me, catch me out. If you hear me say something that sounds awfully definitive as a plan, get in the comment section and say, nah, I call BS, that will never happen.
A plan more than a week in advance.
Yeah, because it's silly. Like, not because the boats fail and, you know, there's always a reason that a plan doesn't work, and you don't want to marry yourself to a plan because people change, life's changed. Yeah.
So that's the plan for now. Which is no plan.
The plan is to have no plan. The plan is west. That is one. Our plan is, where are we now? We're at west. We're not going east anymore, really. Oh, we are actually. Little bit east, then west.
Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us anyway. I hope this answered some questions which you may have been wondering, A, where we've been the last 2 weeks, and B, where we're going to go. If you enjoyed this video, then put a thumbs up and subscribe and all that, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye bye.